Hey guys, today we're tackling a question that's on a lot of people's minds. Is saving and investing in a pension for retirement still worth it after recent inheritance tax changes?
That's right, and with the recent changes in the 2024 autumn budget towards pensions and inheritance tax, it really is time for us to change our approach. If you're somebody that's saving for retirement or you're thinking of passing on your wealth through your pensions, this video is for you.
My name's Ken.
And I'm Mary of The Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy.
Together, Mary and I are both authors. We're Sunday Times best-selling authors of our debut book titled Financial Joy, a 10-week plan to help you banish debt, grow your money, and unlock financial freedom. If you'd love to know more about it, I'll link below and above for you to head over and check it out. Now, today's video is super candid, and we're going to be covering 5 or 6 different areas. The 5 areas are initially, and then a conclusion at the end. The first area is we're going to be talking about the changes to pension inheritance tax.
Yep.
The second is a pension still worth it and why? Number 3 is we'll be exploring the alternatives to consider for retirement savings. Number 4 is practical steps for maximizing your retirement savings. And then number 5 would be how these changes will change the retirement planning landscape potentially. And then finally, for the last section, we'll wrap up with a conclusion. Okay?
Let's do it. To help us continue to grow this channel and help more people, please make sure that you hit that like button and that subscribe button and share this video with people who you think will find useful.
All right, let's talk about section 1 now, which is the changes to pension inheritance tax. So what's changed and what do we need to know about?
Yeah, so let's start with the big change. So from April 2027, any pension funds that you haven't used when you passed away will be subject to inheritance tax.
Yeah.
So this is a 40% tax on anything over the £325,000. And it's going to impact people who have plans to leave their pensions untouched as a way of passing it on tax-free. The threshold includes £500,000 if you give away your home to your children, including adopted or foster children or your grandchildren. And this change targets both defined contribution and defined benefit schemes.
Now, this is huge. This is a really, really big deal because previously, if you passed away before the age of 75, your pension savings could then be passed on to your loved ones as, a retirement, as a legacy that, let me do that again. Your pension savings could then be passed on to a loved ones as a way of building some generational wealth. There was no tax on that money.
Yeah.
And a lot of people use that as a wealth creation tool. In fact, a lot of people who have pensions and who've built up pensions over time would focus on maybe spending down other resources, their ISAs and other savings they might have, and maybe leaving that pension as a way for their families to inherit it. But this is now changing all that for people.
Exactly.
So I personally think this is really frustrating because a lot of people, and you might feel the same, and let us know what you feel in the comment section. You work all your life, you put your money into pensions. The pension age, the age at which you access your pension keeps increasing over time.
Right.
Then you access the pension. Only 25% of it is tax-free.
Yeah.
The rest of it is subject to tax. Then you're like, I'll try and leave it to my family. And then now, on death, they're coming for you. They're coming for your money as well.
Taxing at death. Yeah.
Okay. So let's now talk about, is a pension still worth it? I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so here's the reality. Pensions still have some big advantages, and for many people, they'll remain one of the best ways to save for retirement. Yeah,
and that's right. I mean, what you're speaking to there is the fact that you still get tax relief. So if you're a basic rate taxpayer, for every £80 put into a pension, you get £20 back.
Yeah.
If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you get a bit more through your tax, self-assessment. You get £20 back additionally, and additional rate taxpayers will get an additional £25 back via their self-assessment. So from that perspective, it's really highly tax efficient for higher rate taxpayers and additional rate taxpayers. But there are benefits for basic rate taxpayers still.
Yes, so if you're employed and your employer is making contributions to your pension, then that's basically free money. So it makes sense to contribute into your pension if your employer is doing matched contributions to it too.
So I think, what you're saying basically is that a pension is still a great tool for planning for retirement, for traditional retirement.
Yeah.
But I think it's no longer as attractive as it used to be.
No.
So it's still good for for most people, and it will be their main vehicle for doing it. But I think for people who plan to use it as a way to pass on wealth to family members, they're going to be questioning everything.
Yeah.
Or people who might be thinking, do you know what? I'm not going to wait for traditional retirement. I might retire earlier out of choice, or I might be forced to retire early because of ill health or whatever. Those people might need to now really seriously rethink their approach. What other ways could they begin to save in addition to a pension to make sure that their retirement is effective and working for them?
Yeah, and they can access the money when they need to.
Exactly. So to that end, let's talk about section 3, which is about alternatives to consider for retirement savings. I mean, what should we be thinking about here?
So if you're looking to diversify your retirement savings and you're thinking of ways to generate wealth that you can pass down without worrying about inheritance tax, here are a few options.
So the very first one is an ISA. So still saving and investing into an ISA is one of the most important ways of doing this. At the moment, you still have £20,000 annual tax-free allowance that you can put into an ISA. Obviously, an ISA is subject to inheritance tax. However, the big advantage with an ISA is the flexibility, which you touched on earlier, and the fact that you can generate tax-free income in retirement through an ISA.
Absolutely. So you can invest in a stocks and shares ISA and benefit from the market growth, or even consider a lifetime ISA if you're eligible for that. And if you're aged below 40, then you are eligible for a lifetime ISA. And a ISA, for those of you who are not aware, basically gives you an extra government bonus on your contributions. To get the most out of your stocks and shares ISA and your lifetime ISA, if you're able to, you want to contribute 16k into your stocks and shares ISA and 4k into your lifetime ISA, and then you get the government £1,000 bonus top up,
making it total 21,000.
Yes.
Okay, that's excellent. Well, another alternative is obviously property investing. This has traditionally been one of the big ways that people had planned for their retirement. However, whilst this remains an option for some people who are able to invest in property, there have been changes to make this a lot harder, with stamp duty increased on second homes, as well as various regulatory changes, as well as various tax changes. So whilst this might still be an option for some people to provide some income in retirement, as well as some capital growth in the future, you have to be fully aware that it's a lot harder to go down this area. And of course, property investing isn't just like investing in the stock market. It's a business by itself and requires a lot of work and a lot of money a lot of the time.
And for those of you who are looking to pass on wealth, a family trust might be something worth exploring. Setting up a trust can help you move assets out of your estate. Though it does come with setup costs and complexities, a trust can offer more control over how your assets are passed on.
All right, let's now move on to section 4 to talk about practical steps for maximizing your retirement savings. So here are some steps that you can, if you're looking for a balance of options, here are some really practical steps you can follow. What's our first one?
So our first one is to review your estate plan. Now, first, it's worth reviewing your estate plan with a financial advisor. And as the rules evolve, having a strategy that looks at your pensions, your ISAs, your property, all your assets is essential. What's the next one?
All right, so the next one's gifting. So as people will now have their assets, their pensions, falling within inheritance tax, a lot of people will naturally take steps to try to gift assets during their lifetimes. At the moment, you can gift up to £3,000 per year, and that will immediately fall outside of your estate for inheritance tax purposes. There are also other exemptions that exist when it comes to gifting, whether it's for weddings and what have you. But naturally, for a lot of people, gifting will become a big focus, including exploring the 7-year rule, for example, whereby if you gifted an asset to somebody and you remained alive within those 7 years, that particular asset will then fall outside of your estate for inheritance tax purposes.
Next is to pay into a loved one's pension. You can contribute up to £2,880 a year into a loved one's pension and receive tax relief, making it £3,600. Now, this is highly tax efficient.
Yep. On top of that, you can also look to contribute for your children. So a junior ISA is a really good way to have your money working in a different way. So if you can put up to £9,000 per year into a junior ISA for a child, this could go towards, future education potentially. It might even become something that might go towards, a deposit potentially for a child in the future for a property and what have you, depending on what your goals are. But what you find is that more and more people will be exploring the likes of junior ISAs, lifetime ISAs as a way to make sure that they are maximizing the use of their retirement savings.
Next is that you might want to consider getting an annuity. It's a form of an insurance product that would guarantee you income at retirement.
Love that. Now, speaking of insurance, the next tip is life insurance. Now, we've talked about this one many times on our channel. I will link below and above to our complete guide to life insurance. But if you're concerned about inheritance tax for the future, or you and your family are concerned, you might want to get a life insurance policy that means that you are taking care of any future expected bills. We suggest getting a term life insurance policy. These policies tend to get more expensive the older you get, or the more unhealthy you are in life more generally. The one major tip related to life insurance is to make sure your life insurance policy is put into a trust. You can do this, it's as simple as completing a form. And you can even do this today whilst you are taking out the life insurance policy. Just make sure that the policy holder or the person who you're buying the policy from, you let them know that you want to put it into trust, and they can do the admin work related to getting that sorted. The purpose of doing that is that any payout from that life insurance policy means that that payout is outside of your estate for inheritance tax purposes. So it's definitely worth doing.
Okay, so how will all these changes that we mentioned earlier change retirement planning?
Yeah, I think basically it means that for a lot of people, they just now need to be even more intentional about how they're planning for their retirement.
Yeah.
For most people, it would mean that they will be looking to live on their pension savings during their lifetime. And that could be quite tricky, actually, because no one knows how long they're going to live for in the future. But it'll force more people to really consider their options and seek advice, because advice is very important at this time.
Absolutely. And we may even see more people turn into ISAs, property, and gifting to leave that legacy.
And when you say more people, beyond just individuals planning for retirement, this might actually become, we might see current or future governments put more of their attention to ISAs. If they're putting attention to pensions, which they have just done with the most recent budget, who's to say that they will not place even more of an attention on pensions in the future, or start to look at ISAs, because ISAs might be considered to be too generous potentially. But time will tell. But in conclusion, it's no longer a simple no-brainer to simply just put all your eggs into a pension, because you can clearly see there's a target on pensions at the moment, and by making them subject to inheritance tax, it makes it a lot less attractive as a way to prepare for retirement. Yes, of course, you can still prepare for your retirement, but if it's via a pension, but if it's something that you wanted to use as a vehicle to pass on wealth to family members, you may need to do a major rethink. We personally are focusing a lot more on our ISAs. Yes, we still have money in pensions. Yes, we'll still put money into pensions, but because we value flexibility in our lives and access to our money, that liquidity and all of those things, because nobody knows tomorrow, we're using up our ISAs. Our allowance is currently £20,000 each, and anyone, you get that yourself every single tax year. Trying to max that out will become ever more important. In addition, being married or in a civil partnership will actually have an advantage, because you can pass on. There's less of a tax burden when it comes to future inheritance when you have a partner, because you can pass various things onto your spouse and so on, compared to if you were passing them onto your children. That will attract a much higher tax burden. Then I guess a final point to mention is that for some people, it might mean they might want to move abroad, actually, as their option. They might think, this government and future governments are really clearly punishing ambition, punishing aspiration, and they're coming after people's savings and investments and assets. And as a result of that, they might want to pack up and move to another country and take their pensions with them. If that's you, I'd love to see you in the comment. If it's something you're considering, if it's something you're really looking into at the moment, jump in the comments and let us know.
Yes, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. We hope you found it useful. Please share it with somebody who you think will find it useful too. Like, share and subscribe if you haven't done so already. The more you engage with our content and the more it's shared to more people, and we get to help more people with their personal finances.
Now, in case you're wondering, where should I be investing my money right now in order to prepare for a future retirement or prepare for financial freedom, we'd want you to head over and watch this video here called 8 Investments You Must Have by the Age of 45. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and as always, in all things,
be thankful and seek joy. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.